You've already written 17 award-winning books, and most of the people from the army go outside, and we are very good with the corporate world, and we make them corporate warriors. How would you like to tell the society here to kind of, through literature or through writings, ensure that the youth today is motivated to join the forces and become actual warriors than the corporate warriors, which I just turned the thing vice versa in the opposite direction.
Did you guys notice that he's asking the nice questions to the ladies? Right. I mean, seriously, that's a really tough question. But before I answer that, let me just share a story with you as to how this transition happened. Why did I write these 17 books in so many different genres? Because I never saw myself as a writer. I saw myself as someone who is profiling the time we live in. So whatever I see political corruption, I write about it. I see terrorism being sponsored by our friendly neighbors, I write about it. So I thought that it was something I could do to combine my passion for storytelling, to bring out to my readers various aspects of life and present it in a very balanced manner. For example, I wrote a book where the Palestinian-Israeli conflict is showcased. Now, I tried very hard to stay in the middle and not stand in judgment on either one of the two. So, writing is something, I mean, when I wrote my first military action thriller, I remember my publisher telling me, oh, Indians don't do military action thrillers. At that time, no one used to write military action thrillers in India. And I was a little surprised because the Mahabharata is also a military action thriller and definitely written by an Indian, right? So I thought, but that was so vague. So that's why I started writing these thrillers. And now coming down to the question he asked me, actually I told you the story to give myself time to think of the answer to that question. Right? So to answer that question, what can I say which can help motivate young people to join the army? I don't know. I can tell you what the army did for me. I was 16 and a half when I joined the Defense Academy at Pune, and all told I spent about 20 and a half years in the army. By the time I was 25, I had learned three things. I had learned the value of focus, which means you keep your eye on the ball. Whatever you want, focus on it. The second thing I learned from the army was flexibility. That once your focus is clear and you want to achieve something and you are flexible about the road you take to get there, you will always achieve it. And the third thing the army taught me was discipline. Now, when these three things came together, by the time I was 25, I was bulletproof. I could literally do whatever I put my mind to. So I left the army. I set up my first company. I had no experience, no money in the bank, and people told me, what happens if you will fail? And I said, well, since I don't have the financial capacity to fail, I better not fail. So I didn't. Then I set up my second company, which is based in Singapore, where I'm currently living for the last 8 or 9 years. And again, I knew I wanted to do it. I did it. When I wrote my second book, I remember a very prominent journalist wrote a review, and it said, it's a nice book, decent effort, but Deva is obviously not a writer. So I remember I cut out that clipping, enlarged it, photocopied it, put it up in my home office to remind myself that I'm not a writer. And then 2 years later, when I started delivering one bestseller after the other, I waited till the fourth bestseller had hit the road on 4 years. Then I sent him all 4 books gift wrapped with the clipping and reminded him that I don't need to be a writer. I just need to know what I want, and I need to be clear that I will achieve it, come hell or high water. So what the army taught me is 3 things: focus, flexibility, discipline. And if you join the army, these are 3 things you will definitely learn. So if not for the nation, do it for yourself.
So do we see the next book coming up to influence the youths to join the army and serve the army?
Actually, I'm sorry, Buzz, my next book is already ready. It's going into edit next month. That's my 17th. And it's not about how to join the army. It's about how to make success
No,
a
I'm
habit.
not asking about how to join the army. I'm saying, why should you join the army? And why should it be compulsory to join the army? Because this nation really needs it.
I just told you that, right? I think we should join the army because we want to succeed in every walk of life.
Do we see a contribution in the form of a book from you coming up very soon on that subject?
Maybe.
Good. Thank you so much,
Say
sir.
no to that, right?
Thank you so
maybe.
much, sir. Thank you so much. Mrs. Rachna Bisht.
You could have asked me that question. I'm coming out with a book telling children why they should
I'm going to
join
ask
the
you
army.
that. Well, there's a question which is very well worded, and I didn't want to change it, so here it goes. In the times of desiring peace of the world, why should we remember wars and soldiers, many of them who are dead and gone? No, it's not. I can't hear you.
Hi everybody, good morning. That's a very good question and I couldn't have put it better myself. Okay, so why should we write about wars? He's right. I come from an army family. My father was a retired paratrooper. He was a brigadier in the army. My brother fought the Kargil war. My husband is an army officer. And believe me, we are the last people who want a war. Because we are the ones who are going to lose people over there. All these men who go and die there, they are very close to me. My life would not be the same without them. So we definitely don't want more wars, but we need to remember wars. And why do we need to remember wars? First of all, if you look at it very practically, because they are a part of our history. They happened. We can't wish them away. It was very unpleasant, very gruesome. It was terrible for some people. Colonel Rai here is a living example amidst us about how tough life becomes for soldiers when there are wars. But they happened, so we need to write about them. But other than that, I want to tell you a very small story. When I started writing my book, which was The Brave, which is the story of the 21 Paramveer Chakra Award winners, which is the highest gallantry award that our country gives to its men in the military. And those acts of valor are so big that most of these men are dead when they get it. So out of those 21 award winners who I wrote about, there were only 3 living when I started writing that book. And most others got it after they had died in wars. So those stories were reconstructed from interviews with soldiers who had returned alive from wars from which these heroes hadn't. And I met a lot of people who had lost their children, women who had lost men they loved. You might have heard about Vikram Batra. How many of you know Vikram Batra here? Do you? Okay. The others, particularly the youngsters, will probably remember the film Lakshya, which had Hrithik Roshan. You do? Okay, that was roughly on Vikram Batra's story. Vikram Batra was a young captain when he died in the Kargil war. Hrithik Roshan survived in Lakshya, but unfortunately Vikram didn't in real life. So Vikram Batra's was one of the stories I wrote. He was only 24 when he fought that war and when he died saving another man. He became famous because Barkha Dutt had an interview, and that was the first time a war was on television in our faces. And Vikram had just returned from capturing one peak, and she asked him what he wanted now. So he said, "Ye dil mange more." And then he went for another height, and unfortunately he died over there while pulling another man to safety. So I went and met Vikram Batra's parents, who live in a small village in Himachal. उनके घर का नाम विक्रम बत्रा भवन है. उन्होंने वहाँ सफ़ेद गुलाब के फूल लगाए हुए हैं. और उस गांव में अगर आप जाएंगे तो आपको एड्रेस की ज़रूरत नहीं पड़ती. आप किसी से भी पूछिए विक्रम बत्रा का घर कहाँ है, कोई भी टेलर, रास्ते में स्कूल का बच्चा मिलेगा, नाई मिलेगा, दर्जी मिलेगा, सब आपको बता देंगे कि विक्रम बत्रा का घर कहाँ है. तो वहाँ पर मैं गई थी और वहाँ जाके मुझे उनके फादर मिले, जो कि एक शॉल में लिपटे हुए उसकी विक्रम की फ़ोटो के नीचे बैठे हुए थे. उन्होंने मुझे बताया that Vikram had a girlfriend who never married after he died. It had been more than 10 years of the Kargil war, and that girl he was in love with, she decided she would never get married. तो वो एक चंडीगढ़ के स्कूल में बच्चों को पढ़ाती हैं. I met her also. तो विक्रम के फादर ने मुझे बताया कि विक्रम एक और जवान को बचाते हुए उसको खींच रहे थे तो उनको गोली लगी थी. एंड देन ही शोड मी द परमवीर चक्र. उन्होंने कहा कि हमारा बेटा तो चला गया पर ये मेडल हमारे लिए बहुत मायने रखता है. एंड हिज मदर सेड मेरे 2 जुड़वा बेटे थे, तो तब मैं भगवान से पूछती थी कि 2 बच्चे क्यों हुए, तो अब मुझे पता चला कि एक देश के लिए था और एक मेरे लिए था. सो दिस वॉज द काइंड ऑफ इमोशन विच वॉज अटैच्ड टू दीज स्टोरीज. और ये लोग जो यंग लोग जाके मरे इन लड़ाइयों में, इनके परिवारों के लिए तो लाइफ वहीं ख़त्म हो गई. उनके जो मन में अभाव रह गया, दैट इज ऑलवेज गोइंग टू बी देयर. बट फॉर द रेस्ट ऑफ अस हु दे ऑल्सो वेंट टू फाइट फॉर, हम तो उनको याद भी नहीं करते, हमको तो ये कहानियाँ ही नहीं पता थी. सो दैट इज वाई दीज स्टोरीज नीड टू बी रिटन, बिकॉज दैट्स ऑल वी कैन डू फॉर देम. वो हमारे लिए मरे, हम उनकी कहानियाँ तो कम से कम सुन और लिख सकते हैं. दैट्स इट.
Thank you so much for elaborating on that. That was brilliant insight. Colonel Lalit Rai, sir, you have operated in Assam, in the northeast, in J&K, and you've carried out operations, hundreds of them. I would like you to enlighten some of us here regarding the surgical strikes, firstly, and thereafter will come my second question to you, sir.
Okay, it's a very topical question because जहाँ भी जाता हूँ यही चर्चा है कि ये सर्जिकल स्ट्राइक पहले बात हुआ था कि नहीं हुआ था, और ये सर्जिकल स्ट्राइक है क्या चीज़ है. So let me first clarify to you what is a surgical strike. Surgical strike is a special type of an operation where we go only for that value target what we have targeted. That is, in this case, terrorist camps, which was across in the Pakistan occupied Kashmir. It was about 3 kilometers deep inside. Now, if you do a normal attack, you can't just roll over 3 kilometers and then hit the terrorist camp. In any case, your surprise would be lost. And by the time you reach the camp, they would have already moved, because these camps are very dynamic. They keep moving from one camp to the other camp to the other camp because that is their sense of security. That is the design. So now, to be able to go there with absolute knowledge and to hit the target without doing any damage to any other civilian and other properties or civilian lives is what is called a surgical strike. And let me say hats off to our Indian Army and our young officers and young soldiers. They did a brilliant surgical strike. 2 दिन तक उनको observe किया गया, where 2-3 people had gone inside to observe the terrorist camps. Then these people surreptitiously walked through the minefields. You know, those mines are there on the ground. Through the minefields, these people have gone towards the terrorist camp using GPS and their special equipment. And once over there, they hit the target with everything they had. And they destroyed something like about 38 to 40 of those terrorists there, which was not declared. And to do that, the most critical part of the operation is, after you hit the camp, how do you come out alive? Because everybody is alerted. The complete border has got those defenses and they're alive now. And they have known that there is some attack which has happened there. How do you come back alive? That is the challenge. And that is the time, what happened was, all along the border, the other units projected as if they were doing some sort of operations, and they started firing to divert the attention. And our people quietly slipped out while all this confusion was going on. And hats off to them, 38 to 40 of them killed, 2-3 Pakistani soldiers who were training these people, they also got killed, and our people got back safe and sound with a full 100% success rate. So that is a surgical strike.
Thank you so much, sir, for enlightening us on that.